Hello, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode for August the 30th, 2022, episode 182. And as you know, we've just come back from London, Ontario, Canada from our 2-day shopping spree, which I'm sure you have seen on So Chatty, my $3,100 worth of fabric. And if you haven't seen that yet and you're not sure what $3,100 worth of fabric looks like, well, I'm going to show it to you right here. There it is. Quite a pile. Yep. It is no longer sitting on my pressing table. It has all been filed away, all put nicely stacked onto my fabric shelves. And I have to say, it looks really good on my fabric shelves right now. So, yeah. And the best part is it is paid for because I had a plan. I did have a plan. I always have a financial plan. So it did not put me in the hole. It was a lot of money, but I've been sort of saving up for this, you know? So yeah, it brings me joy. What can I say? Just want to get naked and roll in it. Well, maybe that's too much information. But anyways, I have been busy doing a few things. Let me just find the picture. Here we go. So here is my Christmas. It's not going to be a quilt. It's a wall hanging because I'm using different techniques on this, and it's being made up as I go along. Where I have the placement of those snowflakes and the stars is not necessarily their final resting place. I'm still fooling around with that. I'm making a second snowman, and I'm going to put a few little gifts. I'm looking for actually a freestanding lace gift package that I can put there. I found a couple yesterday. One of them was I thought it was a freestanding applique. Well, yes and no, it is not. So I've done some tinkering with it, and I got to do some more tinkering with it. And I found another one that is a freestanding lace thing, but I didn't realize it was more or less designed to be a Christmas tree ornament. So its shape, it has an extra little part on the bottom that I don't think would look right here. So I'm still looking for things like that. And excuse me. And what's my plan with these? Well, okay. I intend to quilt the basic Christmas tree, the whole panel, if you wish, or whatever, quilt, first before I apply the appliques and the standing lace parts. Then I've been doing some research and found that people are actually doing like raw edge applique right on their quilts while it's still in their long arm, still mounted on their long arm, and they're using the long arm to sew them. And I got thinking, well, you know, that would make life somewhat easier. I'm just not sure how I'll go about this. Now, I don't think it'd be a problem with the stars and that because they're all pretty much one color. So I would just use the same thread. Like I'd use a silvery thread for the silvery colored snowflakes, and I'd use a gold thread for the goldy colored flakes. But the snowman has a black hat, and the rest of him is white, basically, where you'd be sewing him down. But I don't want to change. Well, I could change threads. I suppose I could. I was thinking I would try to find maybe use an invisible thread. But I've heard invisible threads in a long arm are not very cooperative. I don't know. This is all an experiment, so we'll see. And speaking of experiments, you see a table runner. That's just the top. That is the prototype to my sister's table runner, the one I've been trying to find the right fabrics for. This one later today, I'm going to slap on Lucy because I think I'm going to try a couple of the things that I learned in that course I took a couple of weeks ago, that 3-day intensive course for Quilt Path. And if they work out on this one, then I may apply the same things to hers. Now hers, and I'll show you what hers looks like, is longer. It's 72 inches long, and these are her colors. The two don't even look like the same pattern, do they? And that's all in terms of the change of the color. But anyways, there it is. It does look long and skinny. It's 16 inches wide. In fact, it's wider than what she had on her table. It's the same length, though. She wanted it 72 inches. So it's exactly 72 inches. That worked out. I don't know how, but it did. So I'm thinking a couple of long rows of feathers. I do an edge-to-edge design, maybe. Depending on what turns out on that one I was showing you before, the test one. I might do some kind of a feather circle in just this center here, and then rows of feathers coming out, oops, at either edge of that. I don't know. That's what I'm going to try on the prototype anyways. If that works, and that's probably what I'll do on this one. So we'll see. I hope she likes it. We had a devil of time picking the colors out to go with that chair, you know, that I showed you last week. So anyways, yeah, that's what I have been up to so far. I also have my Halloween quilt sitting near Lucy, waiting to be quilted as well, and I hope to get to that this week too. I have a lot of projects for Lucy this week, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so I showed you the London Fabric Haul. Really thrilled with all of that I bought. So let's move on. I have a short little demo here that I'm going to insert for a little device that I bought. It was an impulse buy when I was in Campbellford at Number One Sewing Center or Sewing Store. I'm not sure what they call it. I reviewed those or showed you pictures of that a week ago or so. It's called the Ruby Beholder. And essentially, it is a tool you use to help you decide on the value, color value of your fabrics. So here's my demo of how this thing works. Or does it work?
So I just bought this little tool from Martingale. It's called the Ruby Beholder, and I've heard about these. They're supposed to help you decide on, when you're separating out fabrics into lights, mediums, and darks. Sometimes you have fabrics that are very close in value to each other, and you're trying to determine whether one's a light or one's a dark, or whether one is darker than the other. And it's not always easy to do that with the naked eye. So this little tool is supposed to help you with this. Now, I have never used one of these before, and I have not even taken it out of the package yet. So I'm going to do that right now. Oops. Okay, so I've got the packaging off, and it does have instructions, as you can see right here. Let's get this in the shot. So it's just a piece of red, ruby red, plexiglass with a hole in the center. So let's see what this says. It says the Ruby Beholder is a value finder and window template in one handy tool. It is designed to help you sort fabrics by value and to select and isolate 1.5-inch squares, finished size, that contain special motifs or colors. You can use the cutout end as a template for marking and cutting the desired squares. Okay, so it's a 2-in-1 tool. It allows you to use it as a template for cutting out 1.5-inch finished squares, which I guess is great if you're a fussy cutter. And it also allows you to determine value. So, reading on, this ruby red rectangle is indispensable for sorting fabrics and evaluating shadings, especially in watercolor type quilt designs like those featured in our books. Watercolor quilts, watercolor impressions, strip-pieced watercolor magic, and more strip-pieced watercolor magic. Handle and store your Ruby Beholder with care. The window template end is easily broken. To protect the Ruby Beholder, wrap it in cardboard or other supportive material. So I guess this end can be broken off. How to use the Ruby Beholder as a value finder. When you look through the Ruby rectangle, all you see is value. This helps when organizing fabrics in shadings from light to dark. To illustrate how the value finder works, 1. Select 3 fabrics with different values, one dark, one medium, one light, and place them next to each other. Well, I pulled out 4, but let me just pick out another one. So here we go. Here, just move this into shot for you. Here are my 3 fabrics. Okay, now it says, stand back from these fabrics and look at them through the ruby beholder. Notice that the ruby beholder masks the colors so you see only relative values. Note, this technique does not work well with fabrics in the red color family. Well, I don't really have any in the red color fabric, although this one has a little pink in it, so I'm not sure if that counts. Now add more fabrics to the selection and use the value finder to sort them into rows and run from light to dark. Okay, seems easy enough. All right, so here are my fabrics. Have them laid out here, and here's the finder. So I'm going to hold it up to my eyes and see what I see. Okay, well actually this works very well because that is my darkest one. That is definitely my lightest one. And this is my medium. Well, that's kind of nifty because if I was doing this on my own, I would probably say that was the lighter one. But between these two, I'm not really sure which way I would go. But now that I use this and look through it, yes, I can see which way I would want to go. So that's really great. Now, let's do an experiment. Let's see if you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Let's get my fabrics down here. I don't know if this is going to work, so bear with me. Can you see? Let's move these back into shot a little better. Okay, there's one, that one, and that one. Okay. What do you see? Not sure if this works as well, but there you go. So that's how this little thing works. And I guess if you want to fussy cut, you would just lay these down and you would isolate an area and you have a 1.5 inch square already finished. I guess that's a little added bonus. I don't know if that's a real maker or breaker of buying this little tool. But anyways, yeah, I'm impressed it does work. Now, yes, I know you could take a black and white picture of these same fabrics and you could do the same thing. In fact, why don't we try that? I happen to have my camera right here. So let's just get this out, set it up to take a black and white picture. Let's see, how do I do that? I think it's there. There we go, black and white. Okay, so I'll take a picture of these three fabrics and I'll show you what that picture looks like. Oops. Wants to spin it all around, but here you go. Oops, sorry. I don't know why it wants to do that. But yeah, this works the same way. I definitely can see the difference in those three fabrics with this. So, is it worth the money? Well, it cost me $15 Canadian to buy it. It was an impulse buy. I'd heard of these things. I also heard that they're difficult to get your hands on, but I bought one. But you want to know something? I don't know how often I'm going to use it. I think my camera works just as well over this. So there you are.
So yeah, I think that's one of those tools that's just going to sit in a box. I should start gathering up all those things that I don't use and give them away to people or something like that. You collect these things, you try them out, and they don't become something you use all the time or you never use again. Okay, that takes me to Subscribers Quilt of the Week, and I really wish I had something to show you. I don't. I do not have a Subscribers Quilt of the Week. So, what does that mean? That means I need some things to show. Come on, people. I have a lot of new subscribers out there that I've acquired in the last month. Don't be shy. Send me one or two, no more than two, pictures of one of your creations. and write me a small little blurb. It's nothing major. It's just, what this is, why you made it, 50 words or less. That's all I need. And send those to me. My email address is in the show notes below, and I will feature you on here. Don't be shy. We've had I've had a lot of quilts and projects, and I just don't want quilts either. If you make garments, if you hooked a rug, you knitted something, you crocheted something, made a bag, whatever. It's a creation. I would like to feature it here. Let the world see what you've done. Um, so yeah, don't be shy about it, as I said. Send it to me. I'd be more than happy to feature it. Okay, so what's next? YouTube of the week. Now, this is called Handmade by Ying with Donna. I didn't realize it, but I was watching one of her videos the other day where she talked a little bit about herself, and she hasn't been quilting for that long, which is, great. I think she actually got into it uh, because of COVID, and so many people did at that point in time. Um, she's got a very successful YouTube channel. If you've not checked it out, look for it. It's called Handmade by Ying with Donna. And she is going to be interviewing me and Walter together, an interview with the two of us together. She's doing that later this month or later in September. And I'll let you know when that happens, and I'll find the link for it when she puts it up, and you'll be able to view it as well. Don't know what to expect. I've only ever been interviewed by one other person, and that was the guy who sews, Sean. Um, so and neither Walter and we've never been interviewed together, Walter and I. So that's a new dynamic. So we'll see how that all works out. So uh but for this week on the YouTube of the week, here is Donna's YouTube channel. This week's YouTube channel is called Handmade by Ying with Donna. And Donna has a really great channel if you really enjoy interviews, sew-alongs, and live events. She has it all. So if you take a look here at her playlist, you can see she's got 3-yard quilt farmhouse chic. She has a Sunday group sew and chat, traveling quilt program, so powerful, sew a purse, scrappy quilt along, all kinds of quilt alongs, all kinds of things to keep you entertained and educated as well. Donna is actually going to be interviewing Walter and I in September as well. And we're really looking forward to this because she's got a very lively personality. She does excellent interviews. And just overall, her overall channel is just extremely informative and entertaining. So for all your sewing needs, and if you just want to join a sew along or a sew and chat, then check out Handmade by Ying with Donna. Okay, so that takes me to a future project, and this one has to do with Halloween. It's a Halloween scene, it's called. That's what it was called, Halloween scene, table runner or wall hanging. I'm thinking I will use this when I get it done. I haven't started it yet for my front door. So I've got to get it done before the 1st of October because I start putting up my Halloween decorations 1st of October and leave them up for the month of October. So here's what that looks like. This week's project on my vision board is called Halloween Scene Hanger Runner. And this is an in the hoop table runner or wall hanging project from Sweet Pea Designs. I'm really enjoying the Sweet Pea designs because their instructions are so very, very clear, and they do have some very unique and interesting things. And when I saw this, I wasn't even looking for this. I was looking for something else, and I stumbled upon this, and I thought, yes, I need to do this for Halloween. Now, do I need another project right now to work on? No, I do not. But I have this, and I will get it done before Halloween at some point in time. But you know me, I love doing in the hoop applique projects. So here you can see it's whimsical, it's fun. I think it would look great hanging on my front doors of my house, and it's intended to be both a runner or a hanger. So you can see some closer details here. and they just go together so very nicely, I find. Now, they do take time to make, but that's nothing new when it comes to in the hoop projects. Here they're showing how you could actually put it on a special little rack to put it on display. It's kind of a cute idea too. I might have to look for something like that somewhere. But as you can see, the detail is really great that's in here, and you could use up scraps to make this as well. Here they just use sort of a coat hanger kind of a thing for it. So I'm kind of anxious to get on with this project, but I do have a few things I need to get out of my way before I start this, but I have it. So that's Halloween Scene Hanger slash Runner by Sweet Pea Designs, and I have a link to this in the show notes below. So now I'm at the point where usually I would have an interview for you. Well, I was hoping I was going to have Kawartha Quilting interview and tour of their store for you this week, but circumstances happened. While we were on our trip to London, I got an email from Zach, the owner of Kawartha Quilting, and he had been to a wedding the weekend before, and he just found out that a couple of people at the wedding have reported as being positive with COVID. So he's fine. He wasn't taking any chances though, and he was isolating himself for a few days away from his staff at the store. So he asked if we could postpone the interview until the 10th of September. And I said, sure, not a problem. And so that will happen, but it's not going to happen for a couple of weeks yet. So sorry about that. So needless to say, I do not have an interview this week. However, later today, I am conducting an interview, and I have 2 more interviews scheduled in the next couple of weeks. So there will be some more interviews for you. You just have to wait for them. And again, if you have suggestions for who I might interview, keeping in mind, I'm not interviewing big names, okay? I'm looking for people that people may not be aware of, but, you know, they have a YouTube channel or they have a website or something like that, and you feel that they need to be exposed to the world, so to speak. So please, if you do, just put it in the comments below, or better yet, send me an email. Again, email address is in the show notes. Okay, so that takes me to online fabric stores. Well, you saw 8 different fabric stores on the So Chatty episodes that I have done already. So I thought, though, I would give them a more in-depth review, because in those videos, I was just basically showing you what the store looked like. I didn't talk about them too extensively in terms of like ordering things from them and that kind of thing. So I thought I would start doing that. I'm going to start with one of my new favorites, K&A Quilt Studio. It's in Ingersoll. Ingersoll is, I think, a little south of, well, southeast of London, south of Woodstock, basically. If you're familiar with Ontario, you probably can figure out where that is. I've just put it in order. I mean, like, as if I hadn't spent enough at their store already. I just went ahead and ordered from them some fabric for one of the upcoming classes that I'm going to be taking, which I'll talk about in a moment. So here's my review of K&A's Quilt Studio, their online store. This week's quilt store of the week online is called K&A Quilt Studio, and this is located in, let me think, I was just there to it. It's located in Woodstock. Yes, Woodstock, Ontario. And if you've seen the So Chatty video that went up just a few days ago, then you will see what this really looks like inside. But I thought I'd also like to review their online presence as well. So this is their opening page. And you can see they have pictures of the store, and it is a fantastic store. It is so big, airy, roomy, well laid out. If you're in that area, you need to go and visit it, because it is just a phenomenal store. Prices were very, very good as well. And I'm just double checking here. I'm sorry, I said it was in Woodstock. It is not in Woodstock, it's in Ingersoll, which is south of Woodstock. So it's Ingersoll, Ontario. Now let's just drop in on their store and shop, it says. So let's shop. Their website seems to be very nicely laid out. Let's click on fabric. And current collections. So they have them all listed on here. And believe me, their selection in their store is the same selection that you're going to find here. It is excellent. Just everything. Let's go back to all fabric for a second. And these look like wide backs. They are, and they have a good selection of wide back fabric, as you can see, and the prices are pretty good. They range from $21.98 a meter to $26.80 a meter, but a really large selection. You can see there's 126 pages of fabric, so let's just pick another page and see regular. $13.95, those ones are on sale. $16.95. This is all prices per meter. Again, an excellent selection, and the prices I think are very, very good as well. So yeah, lots there. Easy to navigate their site. I like that. Do they have classes? Well, I know I saw their classroom setup, and their classroom setup is beautiful. It's big, lots of space, cutting area that's very large. Yeah, I think it would be a very enjoyable experience to take a class, at least as far as the classroom setting is concerned. Now, I did meet some of the staff when I was there, and they were all extremely friendly and welcoming. So I have a feeling that would be, you know, that as teachers of their class, I think it would be also an enjoyable experience. So you can see they have lots of classes listed. Of course, I don't think any of their classes are online. They're in store, so of course you have to be in the area to get in on one of those. They are, though, having a cruise, and I think there's details here on the website. I saw it pop up when we went to the first page. So if you're interested in finding out about a quilter's cruise, then you might want to check K&A Quilt Studio out. They do have a newsletter that you can sign up for. It's right here. And a calendar showing you all the events and what's going on. And, that's seems to be kept up all to date. And if you're interested in particular things, there's a block of the month, classes, and events. So you can just click on the link, and that's going to show you everything that's there as well. I think their website is very nicely designed, very easy to find whatever you want to find. Sewing machines. They have embroidery machines, they have overlocks, they have quilting machines, sewing machines, Singer Elite Series. They deal primarily with Husqvarna and Viking. So if you're interested in that too, didn't really take a look at the prices on their sewing machines, but I'm sure you can find that out. It's probably listed here. Let's just take a quickie look and see. Yeah, they list the prices right here, and I don't own one of these types of machines, so I'm not sure how those prices are, whether they're great or not. I suspect that they're probably within the ballpark of where other places you can get them. But overall, their online store as their brick and mortar store, it seems excellent. So if you're looking for fabric, a great selection, good prices, check out K&A Quilt Studio. So I really like that store, and you know that I would not tell you that unless I really meant it, and I do. And my order's already on its way. Free shipping over $100, which is really good, and they have great prices. And yeah, so next week I will talk about in detail one of those other stores that I went to on the London trip. Okay, so what's coming up? Well, in a couple of days' time, we will be into September. And you know what that means? The first Wednesday in September is when I do Craft and Chat. And my robo just came into the room and I need to turn him around. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Robo escaped from the other room and got in here because I didn't shut the door. It's kind of like a little dog, you know, follows you around the house. They do a good job, though. I really like my Robo. Anyways, I digress. What was I talking about? Craft and Chat. Yes, first Wednesday of the month, Craft and Chat occurs starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, running until about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is September the 7th. September the 7th. The link, the Zoom link, is in the show notes below. The Zoom link is in all my videos that go up this week. And if you're on my mailing list, you will get an email towards the tail end of this week with the Zoom link in it. And I hope you can join us. It's always a lot of fun. We usually get a lot of stuff done. You work on whatever you want to work on. And we have, you know, conversation. We share tips and tricks. If someone has a problem with something, we all try to solve the problem for that person, help them out. It's a very supportive group. I have my regulars who are usually there, but we are always open to new people coming in. So don't be shy. And if you've never done Zoom before, it's painless. Okay? And we're there to help you out if you've never done it before. So I hope you can join us if you're free. That's this Wednesday, September the 7th, 2022, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you then. And what else is coming up in my life? Well, let me switch my camera for a second. I'm signed up for a couple of classes. Ultimate Sewing, my local quilt store, had their annual open house. Actually, they haven't had the open house for several years because of COVID. And when they have the open house, that's usually when they have all the different projects that they're running classes for on display, and you can sign up for them. So they had their open house this past weekend, and I signed up for this one. This is a virtual class with Donna, the hostess with the mostest. Someone I'm very happy to say is my friend as well. And she is doing this very elaborate, very pretty quilt. Now you can see it's a virtual class. It's called Color Splash Block of the Month. So it is a block of the month class. And she's doing it all via Zoom. And I just love taking classes via Zoom because, one, I'm in my own home space where I know everything is. I don't have to pack everything up and take it to the store or the location for the class. And you know, you usually forget something. I don't feel like I'm sitting on top of other people or people are getting in my way. It is great. And you see the other people, you're talking to the other people during the class. You know, it's the same, but it's different. But I do love Zoom classes. And so this is what this one is. Now, it's an expensive class, but that's because you get the kit. All the fabrics come in the kit. And I think there's about 16 different batiks in this. The other thing about this that's going to make it challenging is applique. And you can see there is applique on this quilt. And that almost turned me off of doing this class. But then I thought, okay, I haven't done a lot of applique. I need to do some. I need to, you know, learn how to do it properly. And so that's what this class will teach me. Now, I'm not sure if it's needle turn applique or raw edge. I suspect it's raw edge. But that's okay. I'll learn a technique. And yeah, this, because it's a block of the month, this is going to take some time. But you know, that's not such a bad thing. When there's this much detail in this quilt, having it be a block a month, I think, yeah, works out better for me. Now, the other class we're going to take, which is an in-person class, is a one block wonder with panels. Now, this picture that they chose to show what this will look like, I don't think does it justice. The one I saw that Donna worked on, and she showed me a picture of it, and I don't know why she didn't use that as the picture for this. Maybe she doesn't have it done yet. I'm not sure, because it's gorgeous. Um, really shows off this technique. Essentially, you have 7 of the same panel, and 6 of them you cut in a certain way that creates sort of like hexagon shapes, and you use those as your additional fabrics around the panel. Um, and it's really something that has a lot of freedom, I gather from what I've read about this, for your layout. This is where design wall apparently comes in very handy, and Donna has said that we should have a design wall, like, a portable design wall, and I do happen to have one, so that when we're at the store, we can lay the pieces out as we get them cut for our arrangement. Anyways, another reason why I'm taking it, besides the fact that I really like what this technique looks like, is the fact that there are only 6 people in the class, and she's doing it on Mondays when the store is actually closed. That means there won't be any customers in the store. There won't be people squeezing by me in the classroom to look at fabric, because the classroom also has fabric in it for customers. And there's more room when there's only going to be 6 people in the class. Yes, I have to lug my sewing machine and everything with me, but that's okay. And in fact, in this one's case, really, you only need your sewing machine, and I guess in the first class we'll be cutting, so a cutting mat and my rotary cutter and that kind of stuff. But there isn't a whole lot of other equipment that I'm going to need to have with me. My basic toolkit and my sewing machine. So I'm looking forward to that. Those classes are going to be 3 Mondays in a row, and they're all day. They run from about 10 in the morning till about 4 in the afternoon for this project. I asked her why she wasn't considering doing it as a Zoom, but she said it's the cutting. You really need to be there so she can help people out with the cutting. And I get that, because I've watched a couple of videos about this technique, and yeah, I think just trying to show it on Zoom or explain it in a paper format is not enough. You really need to see it done with somebody who's done it before. Don't think it's hard, but I don't want to blow the panels because I only have 7 of them. I ordered something that's a fantasy. It has sort of a mermaid on it, and there's blues and teals and purples in it. It's very, very colorful, and I think it's going to work really well. However, I ordered it from K&A that I was talking about earlier, and they only had 7 of those panels in stock, so I can't blow one. Kind of scary. But anyways, yep, so that's what's coming up for me. So that's it for this episode of So Chatty. Just again, a reminder, Craft and Chat, Wednesday, September 7th. Details are in the show notes. And yeah, I hope you have a great week. I hope you're very creative, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye for now.